Time to settle in. We've got another solid story for you today in the R Lounge. Today in the R Lounge, picture purchasing the engagement ring, letting your friends and relatives know the proposal is on the way, and then suddenly realizing you're hit with a serious bout of FOMO. The ring is inside our place and I'm preparing to call it off. I've 30 female, been with my boyfriend 31 male for nearly 2 years. We talked about marriage early and appeared to be on the same page. A few months back I moved in after we agreed engagement was the following step. We chose a ring, he purchased it, it's sitting in our apartment, and he even told his friends and family that we were looking at rings and getting engaged. Then a couple of nights ago, he admitted he's uncertain he's ready for an engagement or marriage. When I asked the reason, one of the things he mentioned was that he's concerned he didn't sleep around enough. He called it a stupid reason and said he'd likely regret losing me over it, which is why he hasn't broken up or cheated. Wow, great, congratulations. At one moment he actually stated the words, "I don't see us getting engaged anytime soon, and people say when you know, and I'm not certain you're the one." He even raised ethical non-monogamy. At first I panicked and said I'd think about E&M. I still wanted to be engaged to him. He's a solid partner in many respects, and I'm fairly open-minded, so perhaps. But the more I thought it over, the more I began leaning toward ending it. I left the next day to stay with relatives so I could sort out my thoughts and told him I'd return in about a week to talk. I believe he assumes we're remaining together. I have a strong sense that when I go back he'll have another sudden realization and insist he's ready to propose, just so he doesn't lose me. But I don't want a man who marries me out of fear of losing me. I want someone who's excited to marry me. If he's this unsure after 2 years, what difference will a week really make? Will this urge for other women simply reappear when we have children and leaving becomes harder? I'd hate to let him reverse course now only to confront that again when I'm older and even more attached. I'd feel so foolish for ignoring the clear warning signs. And either way, I'd always carry in the back of my mind that he's simply not sure. That's definitely not a quality I want in the man I'm choosing to spend my life with. While I was quite upset at first, part of me is feeling eager about dating again. Staying in this relationship would mean I'm preventing myself from finding a better match and settling for someone who's uncertain. Leaving means I'm opening the chance of meeting someone who knows they can't wait to marry me and build a life together. And that's what I want. Right now, I'm working on locking in my mindset over the next few days so I don't get swayed by an "I don't want to lose you" speech when I return. I'm usually very empathetic and understanding, but I know I need to stay logical and firm about this. He doesn't want to end it and would be perfectly content to continue as we are. It's not a terrible life, but deep down I think I'd regret settling for this. Reading posts here has been comforting and clarifying and has helped me feel more prepared to walk away. Hopefully someone feels reassured by this post in some way too. Wish me luck and strength for when I go back in a few days to deliver the news. Edit, update, I phoned him and ended things. I realized I needed to arrange the move out with our building. Otherwise there'd be no parking for the truck and he'd be notified automatically then anyway. So I decided to just do it over the phone and get it finished. I felt a little guilty about a phone breakup, but realistically he just told me he no longer sees getting engaged and wants to sleep with other people. So maybe I'm not the one who should feel any guilt here. He was somewhat surprised and asked a few questions, but I was very firm and basically said we want different things. So this simply makes sense. I really value your honesty. This way we can both find what we want. I have a clearer move-out plan now too. My mom is driving back with me Saturday morning with a U-Haul, and she'll be there to help me pack everything as quickly as possible and get out. Very relieved I won't have to spend any time alone with him or any more nights in the apartment. I can update again after the move when I'm completely clear. Let's check in with some other comments from the community. First up, what would change if he handed you a ring now? He'd still be exactly the same guy, it's just now you have a pretty ring. The op replies, yep, and even if he seemed like he changed, I'd always have this in the back of my mind. Can't really recover from this, so the only real path forward is ending things. Second commenter says, the truth of the matter is you'll never view him the same way now. Even if you go back, the way he spoke to you, the casual way he brought up non-monogamy, the offhand cruelty of saying you should be grateful he hasn't cheated on you. His immature and disrespectful wish to sleep around more will all echo in your head every time you look at him. It's irreversible, which is a real gift to you. Hold on to the hope you have for your future and get out of there. Better to be single than to be engaged to a simply unpleasant man. The op replies, I agree. I'm glad he was so honest because it makes the decision very clear for me. It would be foolish to stay, and I'd have no one to blame but myself after hearing what's on his mind. Next person says, anyone else think he cheated on her? 1. Suddenly does not want to get married. 2. He hasn't slept around enough. And 3. Let's try non-monogamy. The op replies, it's definitely possible. After what he said, I wouldn't be shocked to discover he actually did cheat. Either way, he's already shown more than enough for me to know that he's not the man I want to spend my life with. Next person says, that guy is going to look foolish in front of his family and he deserves it. Having the ring right there in the apartment and telling you he isn't sure, that's just unkind. Don't waste your time on a fool who thinks women will line up to sleep with him, instead of realizing how fortunate he is to have you in his life. The op replies, thank you. He was fortunate to have me and he knows it, but he's not ready for marriage, at least not with me. I'm glad my eyes have been opened now instead of years down the line. And the next person says he's willing to lose you over his concerns. I'm glad you're ending it, you deserve better. If you had agreed to an open relationship, I bet anything he would have issues if you started receiving more attention and dates. I've read enough relationship columns where the scenario becomes a cliché, and the op responds even worse. He said that even though he knows it's not fair, he'd prefer an ENM relationship, where only he sleeps around because he wouldn't be happy with other men being with me. I should have broken up with him that second, but I guess my feelings temporarily got in the way. There's no way to recover from that now though. Yuck. Next comment reads, girl run. He just told you the truth at last. Be glad he didn't trap you with marriage and kids. Be sad for a while, then be free. You're going to find a better partner than one who didn't get laid enough. The next comment reads, haven't slept around enough. That's a new one from this sub that I've seen. I almost gagged. Op, be warned. After he's been out there for 6 months or so and hasn't been able to get laid nearly as much as he wants and feels cold and lonely, good chance he'll come crawling back like the snake he is. Don't be foolish. Don't take him back. Nothing will have changed other than that he realized he's not getting nearly as much sex as he thought he would. The op realized, I'm loving people's disgust at his desire to sleep around. It's helping me further build the ick about him. Thank you for making me laugh. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he tried to reach out after a while. I have no plans to take him back because I don't think I could ever get past what he said. There are so many men out there, it would be silly to get back with one who has already shown himself to be a poor match. Update. A few people wanted updates, so I'm back to share. Long story short, I ended things and moved out. Long story long, moving out went surprisingly smoothly. He helped pack and carry boxes, gave me some expensive items he bought for us while we lived together, etc. Then at one point, when we were alone, he delivered the speech some suspected would happen. Things like he loves me, doesn't want to lose me, it was so hard not talking to me this week, I'm his favorite person, etc. I told him I appreciate it, but we just want different things, so ending it is the right choice. He said he doesn't think our wants are that different in the big picture. I told him our timelines are different then, and he said he doesn't think our timelines are that different. I said something about how either way he's not ready now. We're in our 30s and it's been 2 years. He still thinks he needs more experiences. Edit. In case you didn't see my last post, he said he felt like he hadn't slept with enough women yet, etc. And I'm just not willing to wait for him to decide. I want someone who knows what they want. He said he didn't want me to leave but understood why I was doing it. He admitted he thought about doing a grand gesture to keep me, but knew it wouldn't be right given his uncertainty. He said something about how he's going to try to get this out of his system, and he knows I'll be living my life, might meet someone else. But not to be surprised if he reaches out to try to get back together. Another accurate prediction from some of the sub-members. Overall, he said many kind things and was fairly reasonable. He cried, which made me cry, but at no point did I waver in my decision even slightly. Even though it's sad and obviously not the outcome I wanted after 2 years, I'm still 100% sure that leaving was the correct thing to do for me. I guess you should never say never, but I honestly don't see us getting back together even if he has a transformation. I think it would be hard to feel safe and secure in a relationship with him again after this. I don't think he's a bad guy, just a bit immature and indecisive and ultimately not what I'm looking for. Now I'm getting settled into my new place. I'm lucky to have family with spare rooms and taking a short pause before I start dating again. On one hand, I feel ready to get back out there with more clarity than ever, but on the other hand, I'm not sure that it's a great idea to be dating about 2 weeks after ending a 2-year relationship. So I'll give it a bit of time, and then use the lessons I learned in this relationship to spot red flags earlier and make better dating choices. Thanks again for all the supportive comments in my first post. Reading them really helped me feel even better and more confident in my choice. I really appreciate everyone, thank you. Let's go check with some more relevant comments. The op owner X in his confidence levels said this. Yeah, he says he has poor social skills, was pretty overweight, was kind of a hermit for much of his younger years. And then just in the past few years, he lost some weight and started feeling more confident. I guess now he thinks he needs to try to relive the youth he missed out on or something. It is kind of embarrassing, isn't it? He says he was socially awkward and pretty overweight and kind of a hermit for most of his life, and only lost weight and developed more confidence about a few years before we met. I can't remember how many women he said he slept with. I believe it was over 7 and under 15. He was still a bit overweight when we met and he gained some weight throughout our relationship. I didn't love it, but I was okay with it because I liked him for other reasons, but I can't say that he's super attractive. He is tall though. Based on what he's told me about his dating experiences, what I know about what men generally experience, I don't think he'll be drowning in options. A commenter says, the thing that gets me is a line of, I need more experiences. What the hell does that mean? I've been married almost 36 years and I get very restless and want more experiences. My husband is not as adventurous. Guess what? We do most of our experiences together. That's the point of being in a relationship. I've also had many experiences by myself when my husband was unable to join me. I have also experienced a lot of things with other family and friends. Getting married is an adventure itself. You don't stop having experiences because you get married and settle down. I can't tell you how many things I've experienced as a mother of 4 children. I'm talking hiking, biking, outdoor and indoor activities and trips. What he really means is that he doesn't want to give up the idea of dating more women. I bet that is what he really meant. He doesn't have an out if he's married to you and decides he's interested in someone else. That's a no-go, but the I want more experiences excuse by itself is just that, an excuse. The op replied, he absolutely meant he wants to sleep with more women. He actually explicitly said that about a week and a half ago, when we first had the conversation, that he made me go stay with my family to get some space and clarity on what I was going to do next. He suggested ethical non-monogamy so he could sleep with more women while keeping me around. No thanks. Someone suggested the op should consider getting therapy for herself so she could move forward in a healthy way. The op replied, thank you and yes, I think therapy can be so helpful. I worked with an excellent therapist a few years ago. She helped me so much. I wouldn't have been able to walk away so quickly without the time I spent working on myself with her. I stopped seeing her when she went on maternity leave and then I never restarted. I'll think about looking into her availability again sometime. The op then responds to a comment about how her ex was considering ethical non-monogamy, and she replies, he asked if I'd consider E&M. Yes, part of me knew what I was going to do right away, but I wanted to give myself some space to process because it takes me a while sometimes. This conversation was in the evening and I left the next day to stay with family. Broke up with him before I returned to the apartment. Why on earth did I talk to him? And he cried. I guess because I'm not able to immediately go from wanting to marry someone to being completely indifferent with tears. I cry at commercials and children's movies. I'm not that stoic. We spent 2 years together and had a lot of good times. Believe it or not, he did a lot of nice things for me, consistently took me on nice dates he planned. Paid attention to things I mentioned liking and bought them for me for holidays or randomly. Put a lot of effort into helping me achieve personal goals, etc. None of that makes me okay with his lack of desire to marry me or his desire for more partners though, which is why I broke up with him, but I don't just hate him all of a sudden. This man had already bought the ring, told his family an engagement was coming, let you move in because marriage was supposedly next. And then decided, actually I think I need to sleep with more people first. Excuse me, honestly the fact that he was acting like he was sacrificing so much by not cheating on you is ridiculous. Congratulations, I guess, that's literally the bare minimum. Then he somehow managed to make it worse by suggesting an open relationship but only for himself. And I wouldn't lose any sleep over his, I might reach out to you in the future comment. That's basically him saying, I'm going to see if this grass is greener but don't be surprised if I come back when I realize it's just artificial turf. Dating isn't the fantasy he seems to think it is. I also love that you never tried to convince him to pick you. That's such an underrated form of self-respect. He basically said, if you have to think hard about whether you want me, then you've already answered the question. More people need that mindset. Could you ever marry someone after they admitted they weren't sure you were the one? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below, and thank you for joining us today on the R Lounge.